We're live.
Howdy, y'all. My name's Weston. We're doing some drawing today. We're gonna calling this, at least tentatively, Live with Lava Sub, because that's where you can find me on social media at lava_submersible at Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, thank you, Sam, for providing me this platform to do some art today.
Hey, no problem. Glad to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I thought it would be fun to start with my portrait, my next portrait for the Ignore the Bird podcast that we do. And Sorsha being our next episode, that is why you are seeing this very orangey red tinted Sorsha image on your screen at the moment. And yeah, I've been doing I think I'm on, this is number 6, I believe. Of the portraits I've done for the podcast, and I've kind of worked into a regular workflow with these, so I'm just going to kind of get right into it.
Nice. I can't believe you've done that many of these so far.
Yeah, we've got, let's see, we did, the first one I did was Bev Morta, and then I started doing Mad Mardigan. And after Mad Mardigan, I started a Willow piece that is still not finished, but I've been working on for a while. And let's see. After that, that's when we started the podcast, and then I did the brownies, and after that I did Sherlindria, and then the big one that I did thanks to you with your assist with the text for Finn Rizal last week.
Oh my gosh, that one's so beautiful.
I'm really happy with how that turned out. It was a nice feeling coming to the end of it, because I genuinely didn't know how it was going to turn out. My partner Kat had definitely been kind of helping me, giving me critique when I needed it and stuff like that, trying to make it really flow, because I'm not a graphic designer. I'm barely an artist. So yeah,
Lost the train of thought.
oh yeah, see, I'm trying to find the brush I want for because I want to laying out the darkest areas right now to start with, on a separate layer than my big chunky color layer. So I was going to start doing all the darkest parts, and I wanted to kind of give it a little bit of a textured brush. I'm not entirely sure which one I want to use yet, though. Usually I'll just use my regular felt pen that's very flat, very round, and definitely allows me to get where I want to go.
Oh, there's some really fun brushes in there.
Yeah, this is just the free Autodesk Sketchbook app that I've been using forever. It's definitely got some variety. Not all of them work the way that you would hope they work, but there's a lot of really cool variety among them, and I do appreciate. There's some of them that are just like my go-to brushes. Like I use this one quite a bit. It's the salty watercolor, and I usually use it at about this opacity where it's almost to nothing.
Oh.
And I'll use that for
you build up.
I'll build up or use it for like cloud texture, all kinds of different stuff, smoke, and it's this
nice.
really wonderful brush. Yeah, it's a nice little.
I'm gonna have to zoom out on the screen a little bit so we can actually see everything that's going on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I move around a lot. I will with the phone. It's kind of a necessity that because I work off of my phone. So I'm always moving around the piece fairly rapidly. probably should. I'm glad that you brought that up before we get too deep into this, because if you have any kind of conditions where rapid movement or light sensitivities come into play, I definitely want to give you that heads up right now, because there's going to be a lot of rapid movement and probably some flashing of colors.
Yeah, I'm zooming out a little bit to kind of help with that. We're gonna have to get you a layout that's accommodated for the phone. I forgot you work off of your phone mostly. It's
Yeah,
cool though. It's amazing that you're able to do that and produce this level of art.
Thank you. I'm. It's part of why I hesitate, because we have a tablet now. I don't use it that often because I've been doing phone or drawings almost exclusively on my phone for like almost 5 years now. Like for the first couple of years, I was still doing a lot of physical art, but basically, especially in the last 3 years, I'm almost completely digital at this point.
Yeah, I wish
And it's all on my phone.
I wish I could do more physical art, but it's just so much more of a thing to like get everything out to do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The not just the space required, but the time, uh, the amount of money that it costs to keep yourself stocked with art supplies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really frustrating aspect of having to be an artist, especially because there's no support system really for a lot of independent artists in this country. So we're all just kind of on that struggle life together.
Yeah. Things have not changed since like the 1900s.
No,
Before
right?
then, I'm sure, but I just keep thinking of like Pablo Picasso and like how
Yeah,
he struggled.
Totally. There was plenty of, I mean, you look at a lot of history's greatest composers and artists, and most of those people had massive either donations or like direct, like,
Patrons? Sorry, I got ice
yeah,
in my mouth.
patronage from, no, thank you, patronage from all kinds of different aspects and classes in society. And uh, yeah, it's a shame that of all of the terrible things that that period entailed, that's one of the positive things that we could have kept and just decided not to.
Mm-hmm.
Because artists should just starve. We're not real people.
Yeah, we didn't do anything like entertain everybody during a horrible time where everyone had to stay home.
Yeah, I mean, we're barely people. Let's be real, you know?
Nobody likes stories or things
Yeah,
that are
who
pleasing to
needs
look
that?
at.
Yeah, stories? Who's she?
I have no idea. I don't even know where that word came from.
Yeah. But just speaks to the resilience of artists of the past couple hundred years. I mean, a lot of people who never made a bit of money while they were living are some of the artists we remember most fondly. And I just don't want that to be the case for me or my friends, you know? I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
It's a crazy
do.
thought, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why we're getting things set up, and hopefully we'll be launching our Patreon next month.
Hell yeah, keep your eyes out, y'all.
Yeah, it's a big
Um,
question mark on that. We just need to get everything in order.
yeah, keep your eyes peeled though. And we've got a lot of material we're putting out there for you, trying to keep you entertained. So any support you can offer us is invaluable to us, and we cannot
Absolutely.
appreciate it. But we appreciate it very, very much.
Mm-hmm. Like, everything helps. Anything helps. Because
Yeah.
anything is better than nothing. Oh, I hope I got your Venmo info right.
Yeah, it's just my name with underscores in between all the words.
Just in case anybody was feeling generous.
No pressure. Appreciate it, but no pressure.
Yep.
We're just vibing here today, drawing Joanne Whaley in one of the important roles of her career as an actor. And one of my favorite performances, absolutely. I think we've commented a lot about many of our favorite characters from Willow, but I always feel like Sorsha doesn't necessarily get the attention that she deserves.
Something that I really like is that they didn't do the typical, like, 80s thing with women's armor where they're putting her in, like, the chainmail bikini and, like, steel panties.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I love that she's like in this, full armor.
It looks
She's
like real armor. She looks protected.
Yeah. And it's not like even like she's a princess, but her armor is not necessarily elaborate, especially compared to like Kale's or can you see any of the other army? No. It's fairly minimalist and not necessarily like you couldn't pick her out from the rest of the soldiers in the Nockmaar army and be like, oh, well, that's the princess because look at the armor she's wearing. It's like golden and or whatever. Like Matt Mardigan's armor. His is,
custom.
almost that vibe. Is more that vibe than her armor for sure.
Yeah, hers is off the rack. His was definitely a custom made piece.
Custom, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was just a sheer chance that the Nockmaar or the soldier in Tyr Zelene that it was made for was the exact same size as him. Oh man, and Sorsha's sword is the coolest sword in the movie.
I'm trying to remember
If you
off the top
recall,
of my mind what it looks like. I'm gonna have to look it up.
it's like it's got like a jagged edge to it, but it curves off like a saber at the
Ooh.
top of it. Or maybe saber is the wrong word. What's the word? Either way, I'm not a fencer. I don't know these terms. But yeah, it's like got that got this very like malicious kind of vibe to it. It's this really it's like I love that sword. That and Eric's sword that fits on his arm like a gauntlet, my two favorite swords in the movie.
Oh damn, yeah, that is cool.
Right.
It's like serrated on the wrong edge.
What's that?
It's serrated on the wrong edge. It's not like on the normal, like, bladed edge. It's like on the opposite side of it.
Yeah, so
That's
it's like
crazy,
almost more
man.
for yeah, it's like when it's almost more like when you pull it out, it's doing more damage than when it goes in.
Oh yeah, definitely. And there's like so many ways you can hurt somebody with that.
Dang. I just realized how dark this image is. This is going to be an interesting
It's got some very dark black levels.
Sure do. That's fine. I was just like sitting there like second guessing it. Am I making too much of this the darkest shade? Should I be lighting this up? But I can always take this layer and my black layer and lighten it up later. Change the color or opacity, stuff like that. It'll be fine.
Yeah, the like the robe over the armor is very dark, so I think it skews everything.
Totally. No dagger hilt. Oh. I have the worst habit of drawing on my reference layers.
Yeah, I still do that mistakenly sometimes too. It's a little bit...
I think every artist does.
Yeah.
It just drives me absolutely mad, especially because this program does have, like, you can lock your layers down.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's what I do on my computer is I lock the layer so I don't draw on it.
Yeah, I just, forget to do that very important step 90% of the time. It's no big deal, you know?
Hey, you know, I've seen streams where other working artists, ones that get paid a decent amount of money to do art, and they still do it too.
Yeah, that's for sure. I too am a fan of Drawfee.
Yeah, so many. Jacob, how could you?
Oh man. Speaking of Drawfee, they honestly, shout out, because one of the only art streamers that I'm aware of that is unabashedly endorsing using references, and gives me a confidence that what I'm doing isn't cheating like so many people might accuse me of.
I feel
That's
like
mostly just
that's.
me.
I think it's so unfair to say that using a reference is cheating. Does that mean, like, if you're figure drawing and you have a live model, is that cheating because you actually have something you're looking at? That's a
Yeah,
reference.
absolutely. I'm not the way that I look at it is, um, what I'm doing isn't necessarily derivative. When I take an image in and I start drawing over the top of it or something like that, what I'm not trying to do is draw directly what the image says. What I'm trying to do is put my own feeling in style and aesthetics into practice when I'm taking that drawing on. A lot of what I do outside of this Willow stuff is do D&D art for the campaign that we play, and characters that I play in the campaign. And oftentimes I will use myself as a reference for my own characters, or characters my friends are playing, or I'll use their images, or kind of whatever they want to do there. Point being is that what I'm doing there is I'm not just going to draw exactly what I see. It's about interpretation at that point. It's about artistic license, and giving the characters the kind of life that I see them with, especially in the D&D game, where we've been playing this for years at this point. And not just the people that I play with. These people have been friends and basically family to me for a long time, but these characters are family now too. And yeah, it's something that I feel they're characters I feel very strongly about. So I want to imbue that feeling into the art, and hopefully get you guys excited about these characters. Hopefully give other people the impressions and feelings that I have about them. And I don't know. That's, I think, a way more important thing than going, oh no, it's I'm not a real artist. I don't do it the way that I don't do it the right way, And honestly, I think it's most important that we make art.
Mm-hmm.
I think this democratizes art in a way that I feel is vitally important to art survival. Anyone can do this. And it's not to knock what I do. I put my own thing into it, as I've said.
Yeah.
But anybody can do this. And that is fucking rad.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's not so much about, like, I'm copying this image. No, you're interpreting it. And, like, you're finding the meaning in it, and you are pulling that out of that image. And that changes it and makes it different and better.
Yeah, I definitely think it's time for us to kind of start rethinking what our ideas and our preconceptions of what art is, and who is allowed to make it, especially, and what that and what it looks like. I think there are lots of people who I've met in my lifetime who feel discouraged from making art, myself included, because they don't feel like they do it the right way, or they don't do it in a way that's we see in media. Even as much as, like, I've had friends go through art classes at grade school or high school level and be told that what they're doing, the way that they're making art, isn't acceptable, isn't appropriate, or isn't what the instructor asked for. Not telling me that they're not looking for these people to make their own decisions or make art that expresses who they are, but to fit an ideal of what art is supposed to be that is outdated, in my opinion, is unhelpful to get new voices and unique voices into making art. And art's a powerful tool in learning about each other and communicating who you are in a way that isn't just through the spoken word or through some kind of internet discourse. It's subtle. It's nuanced. It requires thought and interpretation and care, I feel like. And I think everyone should make art. Everyone should make art and tell us who you are, you know?
You know, the way I see it, like, there's no wrong way to do art, because all that art is like a way of interpreting feeling, and there's no wrong way to feel.
Absolutely.
Like, you feel what you feel, and that is it. That's real. No one can take that from you. No one can tell you that that's not how it's supposed to be. You already feel that way. That's truth. So, like, why should art be any different?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a really beautiful way to put it, Sam. Thank you.
No problem. I mean, like, I struggle with being an artist because, like, I feel that, you know, my art is subpar to art that I've seen out there, and, like, I feel like it's like, oh, well, this is stuff an 8th grader would do, not someone that is an adult artist who wants to be paid for it should do. But that's just, you know, it's my own mind tricking me.
Yeah, man, imposter syndrome's a real motherfucker. I mean, I think every artist struggles with that, and I think the only way really out of that isn't necessarily by some kind of individual strength or ability. It's, you know, by, you know, communicating like this, you know, and talking about how everyone's art is important in its own way, and allows us to know people that we care about in ways that we wouldn't be able to do, or they might not be able to express other than in art. I mean, we were talking a little bit before stream, and that was a big thing for me as a young person, was being able to express myself in a way that was honest. And a lot of stuff that I kept very privately, you know, wasn't necessarily stuff that I would ever want shared, but it was important for me to express those feelings in a way that was healthy. And for me as a kid, I didn't necessarily have a very healthy place to do those outlets until I was a little bit older and found theater in high school. But for a long time, I just was, I would write things, write how I was feeling, and tell people and say to the page what I couldn't say in real life. And it was an incredibly important part of developing myself, who I am, and dealing with some very difficult stuff that, I mean, frankly, I shouldn't have had to deal with in the first place, but definitely made me is part of who I am, you know?
And it's wonderful that you had that way of expressing yourself and getting it out, because it's, you know, that's not something that you want to keep locked inside of you, bubbling up, waiting to explode out. Like, there's so many reasons why art is good for people, and I think all of them just tend to get overlooked because it seems like there's so many other things that are, you know, more important than a pretty picture or a silly poem or whatever. But the truth is they're not. These are the things that make us human.
Absolutely.
It's so cool actually getting to watch like one of these pieces come together, because all I get to see at the end is the finished product. Sometimes there's like a draft that you share.
Oh, right. Yeah. It is a, yeah, it's an interesting vulnerability I'm feeling right now. You know, I definitely like, I surprisingly comfortable with it, but definitely an interesting feeling kind of watching kind of in the third person this drawing come together myself, because I don't usually work very distracted. I have a terrible time paying attention to most things, so I wasn't entirely sure how this was going to work. Um,
Oh
yeah,
shoot, I
so
was gonna put on music too. I totally
yeah.
forgot. I can do that now.
Well, music is, yeah, definitely a big part of how I usually work. It's either music or YouTube, and then I get that that drive or that ambition. A lot of the time, honestly, Drawfee days just end up being my my weird days where I'm very productive, because those people just inspire the hell out of me
Mm-hmm.
whenever I see one of their videos. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, God, I just remember. You can find it on my Instagram. It's a pretty old piece, but it's called Sir Strawbert. It's one of my favorite pieces that I've done, and it's just this strawberry night. I had taken a photo, or a cat had taken a photo of a strawberry that had like this kind of like odd protrusion on one of its like sides that looked like a nose. So I drew that strawberry as a knight, and I only did this because we were sitting there watching. I think it was they did a video where they were talking, or they were doing backgrounds in the style of other shows. Like, I think they did a Dragon Ball Z and a Steven Universe one.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I don't think I've seen that
and that,
episode, but it sounds very much like something I would be into.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but Jacob said something that just like was like this revelationary kind of, or revelatory kind of moment where I was just like, that's how to draw. And that piece just fell out of me in like a day or two, because it was just this very simple thing that he said that I was just like, okay, well, that inspires the hell out of me. I'm gonna go do that now.
That's really cool. Someday maybe Drawfee will find us, and then they will hear you say that, and Jacob will just be like, "Ah, I'm honored."
Nah.
It'd be really cool.
Well,
I have been watching Drawfee off and on for quite some time. They were one of the few drawing channels that I've really, really loved, that I haven't also
one.
been on. I need to say
Yeah.
that because I had friends that did one called Shapes Are Hard. Those episodes are still up on YouTube. But I went
Oh,
on
that's
one
awesome.
of those, yeah, and did some doodling with them.
That sounds like a friggin' blast.
Mm-hmm.
Are they still active?
I think Shane, the guy who runs the channel, has moved on to other projects. I don't think they do the drawing one anymore. I haven't talked to him in a while. Circumstances have made it so very easy to fall out of communication with people.
Oh God, do I know it? Yeah. Oh yeah. If it's not one thing, it's another.
Oh yeah. But on the upside, it's allowed me to get this channel going, so that's always good.
For this, I am grateful.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think I've got most of the big shapes covered at this point.
Yep, just in case anybody didn't know, art is just shapes. It's shapes and lines.
Okay. Yeah, and while I might not do things traditionally, I definitely at Bob Ross's advice, so you will hear a lot of noises from me that don't have anything to do with anything. They are just noises for fun and art.
They're like stretchy pants.
Whoa.
Sometimes it is just for fun.
You see this? It's be looking like a mouth.
It does. Like a... Well, now it's starting to look like one of the Canadians from South Park with the flappy heads.
Or like Homestar a little bit.
Yeah! Oh, hi, you guys. It's me, Homestar Warner.
Oh, Homestar.
Remember me? Back from the early days of the internet.
Shout out to the Chapman brothers. Those guys still work, and they're doing great stuff. Oh my god.
There are times where I still get, like, the strong bad stuff stuck in my head. Like, the music videos that they did.
I mean, that's GOAT internet content. I mean, like, classic, stylistically appropriate, beautiful work. We cannot stand harder.
Mm-hmm.
I would have no concept of the internet and its humor without Homestar Runner. That's all I know. That was like, dude, half our that's so funny. Half of our D&D game basically is like, who introduced me to Homestar Runner? Ryan was like, me and Ryan and Zach were all in the same high school theater department at the same point where Homestar Runner came out, and we actually, like, there was some, you know, the typical school restrictions on what you were and were not on your school computers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had some very tech-savvy friends in high school who had access to the computer in the back room of our drama department, who immediately broke that. So we had emulators and full access to the internet to just be teenagers in high school on the internet in the early 2000s.
Uh-oh.
So lots of problematic things, but also Homestar.
I'm just thinking, like, wow, that was the area of, like, porn sites that were not obviously named porn sites.
Yeah, right.
Like, I remember going to yoyotricks.com at one point because I wanted to learn some yo-yo tricks, and that is not what I found there.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but we had no problem with those. It was okay. Our freshman and sophomore year, basically we just hung out in the back room, like half of us skipping classes and stuff like that. Our school was a terrible place. If you're cringing at the fact that we're skipping classes right now, just calm down. Our school is a terrible place. We were all a bunch of weirdo kids with terrible home lives and living in one of the most conservative towns in California through the Bush era. You cannot judge us. We could do whatever we wanted, and I will never. There is nothing that we did that was wrong. That's my opinion. It was an interesting time, and we definitely watched a lot of stuff that we shouldn't have been watching. But it was a beautiful period until it wasn't. At one point, we definitely got that privilege taken away from us because people were using it for sex, and that was once that got back to our drama teacher, who had no clue what we were doing back there. And once it got back to her, though, she was like, "Yeah, no, you guys really fucked up. You don't get trusted with that space anymore. I thought you were using it to escape the terrible place we all exist in." And we were like, "Well, that's what we were using it for." She's like, "But in a really bad and stupid way." So, yeah. It was good while it lasted, though. We definitely watched a person fit their entire head inside of somebody's orifice, and that was something that will live with me for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, my high school backstage experience was fairly mild then, because the worst thing that happened was, like, on one of the days where we were doing previews for all the English classes, we got, like, extended lunch because we were excused from all of our classes for the day. And somebody brought in a VHS copy of Orgasmo, and we watched that during lunch after going out and getting Chinese food.
I love it. No, yeah, we had the Trey and Trey and Matt media back then too, or in our school too. Yeah, definitely. Just Yeah, it was a terrible period of our lives, and we made mistakes, and we all are much different, much better people at this point.
But you know what? At least we went and we made those mistakes when we were younger, and there were less repercussions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that I got most of the fighting I ever had to do in my life done before it was an illegal thing I could go to jail for. Or the schools had tightened up so much on it that, you could go to jail for doing it in school. Learned before it was too late for me how to control my temper.
See, all I'm gonna say on that topic is maybe it's a bad idea to put, like, hundreds of hormonal teenagers in the same area for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that the way they do things makes a whole lot of sense. But that goes for just about everything in our society. So.
Yeah, sounds correct. Everything's a little bit backwards.
It doesn't make sense and makes me mad. It doesn't make sense, but it also makes me mad.
I've gotten past the point of being mad about it anymore because it's like, what can I do about it? I'm just gonna go and live my life.
Huh. I cannot envy you more in this moment.
Well, I got to that point because if I didn't get to that point, I would have exploded because I had an aneurysm.
Oh, fuck.
Like, it's too much stress. Like, I had to start letting things go. Because
yeah, dude.
I was such a high-strung kid, like, all the way into college because it was instilled in me, like, grades are, you have to get good grades so that you can go to a good college and get a good job and blah, 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 blah. Don't be happy now. Be happy later in life.
Oh, yeah.
No, I want to be happy now. I almost drowned when I was 6. I want to be happy now.
Damn. Yeah. You have an experience like that, and suddenly it's like, I think you only get one of these. Could I just have fun now?
To have the near-death experience at 6 years old makes you a very enlightened person afterwards.
Yeah, that tracks. It makes a whole lot of sense.
Yep, so that's how I got to my give no fucks carefree situation.
Well, guess it's not envy, but it is still, I can appreciate the fact that not obsessing or having those moments that I have so frequently where you're just like frustrated at the fact that some people want us to live in a worse world than we have to. And the anger.
Yep.
Oh, the anger.
And those people are jerks, and all of their armpits can get lice for all I care.
Oh, that would be really awful. I would not like that.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Is that still lice?
If it's as long as it's hair, I think.
Wild. Okay.
You can get lice anywhere where there's hair.
That is true. So wait, do we just call them different things in different places? Because scabies are a thing and crabs are a thing. But is that just like all of the same thing, but different names for it because of where they exist, or are they actually different?
I was under the impression that scabies was like a chickenpox infection that revisits you later in life.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of something else. It was something that I remember we could get from the punk couches sometimes in certain houses.
Though that does sound like crabs.
Yeah, but it was like they existed on your skin or something.
Ooh.
I can't remember.
I'm not even sure how to Google this.
Yeah,
I'm also going to say to like anyone watching this now or in the future, don't Google it. Probably don't want to know.
Yeah. solid advice I would take. I genuinely take it. Okay. Well, that's about all the outlining I want to do for the moment. So I'm going to move to my erase tool. A very soft eraser at a 4% flow. And start on my color layer. Oh, hello, Sorsha.
Oh.
And horse.
It just occurred to me that you
the
haven't
helmet
turned
yet.
that layer back on the entire time you were blocking out the areas of dark color.
What's that?
It just occurred to me that you hadn't flipped on that red layer at all since you started blocking out the color there. So, like.
Oh yeah, it's like ta-da!
Wow.
Yeah, and this will be its full opacity. I do like the hard black on that. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if I need to change that. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it balances the image.
Let's see what happens. Warning for flashing color. I gotta do this first. Okay. Oops. Too far.
Whoops.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, it's back.
Yeah, it's not crashing. It's my my toolbar at the bottom of my screen sometimes will just close when I'm on that bottom toolbar. So it'll just close the app or do a number of silly things I don't want it to do. Which is why our disco and this art program are the only two things open on my phone right now. Yeah, okay. It might look interesting in color. Something subtle. I don't know. We'll see. Doop. Go back to black.
The
just
black
like Amy
is just so
Winehouse said.
striking.
Totally. It's common, like, you know, theming in like flags and sports team things. I don't do a sport, so I don't know.
I don't know what sports ball is, so.
Yeah, we're not sports ball people here.
I don't know how to play Hoopy Sphere or any of that.
What is happening right here? Did I blend something accidentally, or is that? I think that's just the image. What is going on there? Oh, is it the snow going behind this like weird shape here that's like
I couldn't tell what you were
talking right here.
I couldn't tell you what you were talking about at first. I thought you were like talking about the fuzz on whatever cloth she's wearing.
No, I think this is because this is like the roof here, and it's like a kind of goes down here, and there's like the opening or whatever. I was just like confused because this shape was happening, and I was like, "What is that?"
It's a weird shape.
This weird blob of. I mean, because it's the snow.
Yeah, it's domed in a very odd way right there.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, you could always. It's your image that you're making. You could always even that slope out if you wanted.
Yeah, I've been largely ignoring the backgrounds, frankly. Either that or incorporating, like the Cherylindria one, I incorporated in a really subtle kind of way. Just like in really low light kind of ways. You can see like brownies and the rest of the fairies and stuff like that. But I didn't want it to make it more prominent than the main image, so. So yeah, now I'm just removing some color from my top layer. And we're changing this flow around a lot. I have a couple of different brushes I use for this, but this is usually my first pass because it's really nice and soft, and I can make these big color changes just as easily as small color changes. And then usually I'll come back through and even stuff out if I need to. Oh, I don't have. I just realized I don't have our Twitch, our actual stream open. Is it? Why am I not able to find that? So if you're talking to us in the chat, I'm sorry if I'm not paying attention to you.
I don't think we have anyone in chat yet, but you are welcome to chat, and it will show up on screen. There's an area for it, just underneath the little lava submersible Instagram tag. So if you want to say hello, it will be preserved in perpetuity.
There we go. Thank you.
No problem. And I'm also here, so if chat does happen, I will let you know.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. It's always hard to tell with like the first stream of a new show, because like you have to figure out like, is this the right time slot for this? Who's gonna be watching? How many people are gonna show up for something that's brand new? A lot of factors.
Oh, totally.
But we're gonna do it anyway, even if there's only one person watching.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure I let you know that I wasn't in chat, because I mentioned I was going to have it open, and then once we got into it, I realized it wasn't open. It wasn't playing. I didn't see it pop up, so.
Well, to be fair,
you've
been a little busy.
Very true. Yeah, no, it's like 45 or so minutes in, and I hadn't really checked it until now anyway, so who knows how good I would have. Okay. Rewatched Our Flag Means Death last night.
Oh man, I love that show.
It's so good. I restarted it just kind of like to have something on in the background, because we got Animal Crossing recently, so we've been just jamming on that. Pretty hardcore, you know, getting our island in order, living our fantasy of having a place that isn't terrifying to live in.
I figured just having a place is a good enough dream.
Yeah, really.
It's the myth of home ownership.
Right. How's this look? There we go.
Oh.
Okay.
You excited to record the Sorsha episode of Ignore the Bird on Thursday?
Oh, dude, yeah. This is an interesting. It's an interesting character, and I don't, like I was saying, earlier, I don't feel like she gets quite the same kind of due that the fandom sometimes gives to a lot of the other characters. Sorsha is so cool, and her whole story arc where she redeems she redeems herself, but not to like anybody but herself. You know what I mean? It's a very powerful thing. I often criticize the writing of the character, but I will never criticize the performance of the character, because I think Joanne Whaley did an absolutely stand-up job of bringing life to this character that on the page there isn't a ton there for her. But the way that she shows us how much this character grows and cares about the world and the things that she holds dear and important, I think that's a really, really wonderful arc. I'm excited to bring that up and talk about this really wonderful character and Joanne Whaley's incredible performance. I mean, I definitely want to make sure we talk about that during the episode as well. And not to mention, there's I mean, we kind of hinted on some of the aspects of Sorsha the character in our recent episode on Finn Rizal. And I definitely think some of those same talking points are going to come up. And as far as her Sorsha's whole existence, one that is in her, she was brought into the world in a very abusive kind of way by Bab Morda. And I don't think it's even possible to talk about Sorsha without getting into the realities of her birth and her childhood, who she is, and how to her mother. These very difficult kind of territory that I want to make sure we handle with all due sensitivity and stuff like that, especially very personal to me, as we've already discussed a little bit here today. Yeah, I think it's also something that, I mean, way too common as well.
Yep. Yeah. And, it's nice to have the opportunity to kind of, discuss it in a way where it's not discussing anything that's real that's happened to this person, because it's just a character. It's kind of a nice template to put over it so that you can discuss it and get enough distance to analyze.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's even the type of abuse that she endures is a fantasy kind of abuse that not real people really luckily don't have to deal with. Her. Well, we'll save some of that for the episode. But yeah, as far as the way that she was raised, to how she was brought into the world in the first place, all of these very these things that would have been incredibly formative and difficult for Sorsha as a character. That I think it's definitely something that
yeah, it's almost like a double-edged sword, though, because you wouldn't have this fantastic character that you even with as little screen time as she gets, with as little dialogue as she gets, you get a real sense of what she's been through.
Oh, certainly.
And that performance, I don't think, would be there if there wasn't all of that underlying badness that had happened to her in the past. She just ended up being fiction, another one-dimensional woman.
Right, yeah. In fiction, conflict breeds character, and I think, we see that in everyone in Willow that we spend any amount of time with, from Lord Danon's entire existence to Willow and his earlier conflict before the film gets into its main objective with his local prefect, Burglecut, his landlord.
That guy is awful. I hate that guy. He's the worst.
Yes. Yeah, I really can't wait. I hope we cover a lot more of the Nellens and maybe talk about Burglecut in a cover it in a way that talks about the history and of land ownership and these kinds of things, because it's always an exploitative and
that's the one conversation that we really should get Resident Nelwyn on, because I'm sure that he
absolutely
has so much to say about the Nelwyn culture.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we definitely talked about doing an episode specifically about the Nelwyn village, and I mean, I wouldn't want to do that without Resident Nelwyn.
It's right in his name.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry. I didn't think about turning off my notifications before we got started. That person's TikTok's great. If you saw the notification, check it out.
Quick, everybody, do TikToks that will send Weston notifications, because you'll get a free shout out.
Yeah. Yeah. Start now.
But tag us.
Right. Alright, let's take a look at this full opacity again. Take out the background. Okay.
Ooh.
Some shapes coming out.
Yeah.
Getting somewhere. Let's see. It's interesting. It's so much different working in this way. I can notice the changes in. Not in any bad way. I just it's interesting being observed while making art. It's not. It's funny because I've even done live painting before, at shows and stuff like that. And this is different than that even.
Does it somehow feel more invasive?
Invasive? No. I'm not a great multitasker, so I find myself getting distracted. Not just what I'm doing, but also our conversation. And it's it's its own set of conditions, while you're making something. There's always that set of unexpecteds or the kind of things that pop up at the last minute that no one could have planned for or thought of. But it's built right into the structure of it, It's interesting. What am I doing there? Okay. But yeah, I'm not a person whose brain multitasks super well. So, oh snap, that was very large. Okay, did that do anything bad? No. Okay, that's fine. Hooray! I don't have to hit undo 40 times.
Yay!
That would be a very boring part of the stream.
Mm-hmm. And, it happens sometimes.
That's true. It happens a lot, let me be honest.
Mostly it happens to me when I get to that, ugly phase of a piece of work. And it's it doesn't look like anything but a blob of colors, and no detail has been rendered into it yet, and I'm like, this is just bad! How do I fix this?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm really gonna have to blend that. That's very bright. Under the very large brush, Weston. Oopsie. There we go. That's a little better already.
Just like makeup, blending makes all the difference.
Yes. Yeah, there we go. That looks a lot better.
It's just when there was that
blinding
contrast.
Yeah. Yeah, I use this brush a lot. This is like my go-to blender, but sometimes it works really well as an... I guess it's doing that today.
It's a nice texture.
Yeah, it's
very
supposed to be like for... Oh. Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be for like hair textures. Or at least that's what it's labeled for. But it does get this really wonderful streakiness that reminds me a lot of paint.
Yeah, and it also like gives it the look of brushed metal in a way.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I've utilized it absolutely for that exact purpose on occasion. I think that's in, you can see that in the piece I did for Dagon, I think. Although that was more like polished wood, I think, for his bow. Oh. I don't have my background. Okay. It is. Interesting. Alright, it's gonna get real bright in here for a second. I don't know if that's like a considerable difference for everyone else, but... Whew.
I don't know if on the screen there was much of a difference. I was really bracing for it too.
Okay. You can see how bright it is.
Everything.
Yeah, you can say that. You can see at the top of my screen that I've actually burnt my toolbar into the very top of the screen. Because I work so often at like the highest brightness I can actually put myself at.
Oh.
Not great for my eyes, but sometimes super necessary.
Do you have like a pair of those like blue blocking glasses?
I don't. Not that I did get specifically because of that. I got those weird non-prescription sunglasses that I've been wearing a lot lately.
Do they work for this?
Those are UV glasses, glasses. So I don't know if they do anything else, or do anything for my, how bright my phone screen can get. But I am wearing them right now. So
I was just curious because they've really made a difference for being able to like view bright things, because the problem is that most things are backlit with a blue LED, which is like really harsh for the human eye, and by using a blue blocker it eliminates a lot of that extra blue light and it comes through a lot more yellow, and it's easier on the eyes to look at things like that. It's been a game changer for me.
Yeah, I have the what's it called? Like the blue light filter on my phone. But for art, I have to turn it off because it doesn't give me like a true perception of the color at the final stage of the piece. So I have done like entire pieces and then been like, oh well, fuck, I have to color correct this entire thing now. And I think anyone who has any experience with that can tell you that sucks, and you should never have to do that to yourself.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why I've liked using the glasses, is because I can just tip them down and look over them to get a better idea of what the colors actually are, and then pop them right back on so that it doesn't give me eye strain.
Oh, that's so smart. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Damn. Yeah, well,
I might have an extra pair somewhere, man. I might be able to send them to you.
No pressure, but, you know, come up on them and happen to make a Ignore the Bird t-shirt or something. Something, for some reason, who knows why. Yeah, throw it in that package or something.
Yeah, maybe. Absolutely. Certainly some things that we're looking into. Yeah, might be looking into something like t-shirts or stickers or something like that.
Maybe. Who's to say? Really?
Yeah, it's not like I'm the creative director of our group or anything.
I need to go back and fill in where I skipped on this helmet. Get a little hair in there.
Little flyaways.
Get that. Yeah. Her hair is so gorgeous. Oh my god. I love the like natural, just how red and bright it is like in the movie. It was just like, it's one of those things I don't even think I realized until recently that her and Elora Danan are both redheads. Like, it's like almost like a theme of the movie in a way. The color, I mean.
I don't think I ever realized that they were both redheads.
Yeah, it's almost even the same kind of strawberry blonde as well. Did I get the top? No.
That is not a helmet you want to sit on by accident. Or is it?
Or is it? I
Big question mark?
didn't know how, yeah. I mean, I don't judge. And I certainly hope no one would judge me.
There's no judgment here. I do drag. There's no judgment.
Let's throw a little hatching in here or something. I feel like this is gonna look too flat. Okay, it's kind of nice. Let's take a look at that.
It's looking very nice.
It's okay.
I mean, I can see where it's
Okay.
going.
Yeah.
It's an excellent base.
See, did I hit that? Right.
But you know...
Sorry, flashing colors.
You know what this picture really needs? It's a room full of vampires.
Oh, man. I remember I tried to draw... No. Okay, that actually did turn out alright. I did this vampire. I think it was my first ever, like, October draw prompt thing. The first time I ever participated in one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And, I did my roommate as a vampire. And that was, an interesting one. It's so hard, if you don't have, like, fake teeth in, or kind of, like, if your, top lip, effectively, wasn't, like, built to have extra large fangs. Who knew that that's like a huge area of difficulty when you try and imagine that on a person who exists in real life. So it was just like imagining, trying to draw those two corners of the top lip, essentially, right where it meets that the smile lines, you know, trying to draw those up and out so that they could accommodate the extra space for teeth, because no matter how many times you just draw the tooth in to a human face, it doesn't look right.
No.
The perspective doesn't fit. There needs to be that that extra space that the tooth fits in a central location along the jawline. I've never taken art school. I'm totally self-taught, but like, it's just one of those things that you can't not notice when you're looking at a piece that you're working on. It's like, there's something that's not right here. You dig deep enough, and that's, you know, for me, that was the biggest thing I was running into, is the fact that, like, that space has to exist in the actual skeleton.
Vampire teeth stop at the lip. They don't go any higher.
I mean, I was never a huge fan of vampire movies. Like, they were never like the horror kind of thing that I really sought out, and I think that was partly just like the time that we grew up in, because a lot of the vampire movies that were coming out when I was in high school and stuff like that were like, you know, the more like,
you're talking
ravenous feeders.
Or...
Yeah, well, less Anne Rice and more like the 30 Days of Night.
Okay.
Or the Quentin Tarantino, Rob Rodriguez vampire, Dawn, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay, I have not seen that one, actually.
Oh, dude.
I got too into the Anne Rice version as a teen, so I got a different dose of vampire.
my biggest influence, okay, I think my big vampire influence was Nosferatu. I found a VHS copy at a Blockbuster when they were getting rid of VHSs when I was like a freshman, sophomore, junior, somewhere around there. They were phasing out VHS tapes, and there was this old, you know, just Blockbuster generic cover. I pulled it out, and it's like this King Video presentation of Nosferatu. And it did like all of the color transfers correct. Like, it had the big blue tints and the orange kind of like sepia tone tints. And yeah, all put in there and stuff. It wasn't just like a flat black thing with a terrible, like, someone wrote a score on an orchestra or on a accordion or something like that. I don't know. I've seen a ton of different versions of Nosferatu since then, but that one was like one of the, you know, it was carefully reproduced.
I'm pretty sure that's the version that I probably saw in my film appreciation class. Then.
Oh, yeah.
Because what you're describing sounds exactly like it.
Yeah, we took the same film class with
Were we in it at the same time?
No, we had different periods.
Okay.
It was Macaulay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That dude was wicked cool.
Yeah.
Although, yeah.
He was very chill.
He did make us watch Birth of a Nation, and I kind of regretted or resented that, but it was pretty close in proximity to us also watching Do the Right Thing.
Yes.
So I think he was just trying to piss us off because we were teenagers and prone to do that anyway. Yeah, that guy definitely taught a very comprehensive film history class. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah,
And he retired.
Really? He did? Finally?
He retired after my freshman year.
Oh.
And my next film class that I wanted to continue pursuing film at the JC, but the next film class in that progression was supposed to be taught by him, but was instead handed off to another professor who wanted our entire film history part 2 essentially through the lens of Westerns.
Oh.
And I made it like 2 films into that, and then I was like, yeah, fuck this.
Wow, that's very limiting.
Super limiting and frustrating when like you're going through it in a chronological kind of way, and so you're just gonna have to sit through like 6-8 classes of just these rawly racist westerns where they're just, well, these people are bad because they're not white.
You can tell that one's the
John
good guy
Wayne.
because he's got a white hat.
Exactly. I love a western. I really genuinely do, but I don't love most of them.
Yeah, I've got to be very selective about those.
Yeah.
Like True Grit, yes. And then what was the awful Lone Ranger? No.
Yeah. Yeah,
no.
man.
I mean,
I don't even.
Yeah,
I don't know where you get off with that one. That was cringe.
Yeah, it was not the wisest career move for any of the people involved in that one.
I mean, yeah, it is hilarious how many people from that movie have been involved in like really serious controversies since that movie that are completely unrelated to that movie.
Yeah, I'm trying very hard not to say one of the primary actors' names because I know that it's a kind of a hot button thing right now that are getting faces like flagged and demonetized and whatnot.
Oh yeah. But the other one, the other main character of the film, the man who played the Lone Ranger. Do you remember the controversy that arose from him a few years ago? Because that was wild, and I wasn't ever expecting anyone to ever have that position publicly.
No, I don't remember.
Oh, dude, I don't even want to bring it up because it is wild stuff. But ultimately, Armie Hammer. Yeah. If you feel comfortable, if you look it up and want to talk about it, I thought it was fascinating as shit. So
I just want to know what it is. I don't necessarily want to talk about it because I don't know yet.
Let me know.
I love that you can just search any actor's name plus the word controversy and find something.
Just about everybody, yeah.
Oh, okay, wow. I found it. Yep. Wow.
Oh man.
Wow.
It was an interesting week on Twitter that week, let me tell you.
What?
Yeah. You know he's also like the heir to the Arm & Hammer company, right?
Yeah, I did know that much.
So funny, like how boring, how into yourself are you that you name your kid after the company that your parents owned? What a bunch of weirdos, dude.
Free advertising.
Rich people are deranged, man. I will never understand it.
It's, they got more money than they know what to do with, so they do weird things with it.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
They could sponsor an artist. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. I don't even do drugs anymore, okay? So you don't have to worry about me squandering all of your money on that. I'm just gonna buy magic cards. That's the worst thing I'll do, I promise.
It's almost worse than drugs.
I realize that. That's why I said it. I need to be open, need to tell everyone, honest intentions, let everyone know where I'm at. Be real with people.
Do you think there's a MTGA, Magic the Gathering Anonymous?
Oh, I was gonna say, you mean Arena? Yeah, it's a terrible place. I wouldn't go there. But Magic the Gathering Anonymous, oh man, if it exists, it's on Twitter. That's all I know because.
Hi, my name is Samantha, and I tapped all my lands.
Yeah, I got mana screwed 6 games in a row, rage quit on all my friends, and now I'm alone. Help. No, yeah, I really do love Magic the Gathering, but it is a terribly inaccessible hobby.
I never got into it, but that was because I got into the Pokemon craze. Like, when they had their trading card game out, when I was in, like, the sweet age range to target for that kind of thing. And then I realized, how expensive it was to keep trying to collect all the cards and build better decks. And then someone, like, later on in college tried to show me magic. I'm like, oh no, I know what that is.
I've encountered this kind of deviancy before. Then you see the Wizards of the Coast logo, and you're like, ah!
Yep.
Have an absolute meltdown. Yeah, absolutely. They're back! Trying to claim my soul! I thought I was out. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
It's okay. I don't need the cards now. I can just buy the D&D setting.
Oh, the magic stuff. Yeah. They haven't done that with Pokemon yet, but damn, that would be fun.
Oh my goodness. I wonder if they're ever planning on doing that.
Well, Wizards of the Coast hates us as an audience, so I don't think they'll ever do anything that cool. Unless it's very, very beneficial to them with money. And then they'll do it.
I want to play a D&D game where it's just Pokemon Snap.
Right?
Just going around photographing pictures of them.
Yeah. Let's get the Kickstarter going, Sam. I'm ready.
Hold on, I'm going to have to contact Nintendo. We can work together on this.
We'll just call it, what's a synonym for pocket? Cubby Terrors. There we go. Cubby Terrors.
Yeah, for some reason my brain could only, like, come up with the French word for pocket, which is la pouche.
I love that. Oh my god, the poosh. La Pouche plushies.
I love it.
And then yeah, it's just, but you know, that's what we'll call the game. La Pouche plushies.
Yes, and it's just basically Pokemon.
Well, yeah, yeah, so support our Kickstarter. For our endeavor. This is very important to all of us. Show your support. Be a good comrade.
If you know how to start up a Kickstarter, contact me, because I don't know.
Yeah. You can contact us at our email, nerdcrafty.com.
You can also contact us through the website or by joining the Discord.
Hey. Damn, we're good at plugging shit.
Yep. I've had some practice. Once upon a time when I was a YouTube person.
That's right. This isn't your first time at the rodeo, as like it is for a lot of us.
No, not quite my first time at the rodeo. More like my third time at the rodeo. But I like to think that every time I've done this, I've gotten a little bit more of a handle on it. So. Still working it out.
Hell yeah. How are we looking? I haven't looked at this in a minute. Okay, I guess it's time to start her face, because this is starting to look really weird without it.
It's very, like, it looks like Asian artwork, without, like, the nose and, like, clearly defined features there.
I can see it, yeah. Almost like the woodblock ukiyo-e stuff.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I did a Tanuki, did my own interpretation of a bunch of Tanukis back last October.
Oh, that's fun.
Because, yeah, the prompt was, I can't remember what the prompt was. Either way, yeah, it might have been yokai.
Oh, okay.
And that might have been how I got to Tanuki. I can't remember though. But yeah, I I hadn't really ever tried anything. I don't usually work in real flat kind of colors like that. I am terrible at like well, I'm not terrible at it. I don't necessarily always think of things in that very kind of like simplistic style where you just have these colors defining kind of like areas and stuff like that, giving you kind of more of that a way different flow than what I work like most of the time now. And it's just so fascinating. Like cartooning and stuff like that is just so outside my mind. Like I have never been able to figure out how to simplify an image down to make it into a cartoon. Like I see that a lot. Like people will take images very similarly like how I'm doing this piece, but kind of shrink the proportions, stretch them, morph them into like much more stylistically kind of like unique cartoon version of themselves. And I don't have that kind of brain, you know. Like I can't simplify shapes like that in a way that I'm ever satisfied. Some people do it with such an incredible effect that it blows my mind. It's some of the coolest stuff, man.
Well,
I love cartoons.
Yeah, it just really kind of depends on like the things that you've trained yourself as an artist to do. Like I could not work in light and shadow the way that you currently are because like I've never trained myself to do that. My shading is, you know, I don't think it's very good at all. I say that it's terrible when people ask me about my shading. Like the most I try and do is just like, well, this overlaps this, so there should be a shadow here a little bit.
I mean, that's basically it. I don't know.
But it's more like what bothers me is that I can't like figure out muscle contours and things like that.
Oh.
The things that make it look more realistic, or at least bring it into that like higher level of like flat artwork.
Totally. Yeah, it's so, yeah, it's all just kind of tied into where we were starting the chat. It was like with how everyone kind of like has that their own way of expressing themselves, expressing how they're feeling and stuff like that. And it's fascinating. Like I think a lot of the reason that my style kind of developed in the way that it has is that like we were talking about with imposter syndrome, like I tend to, especially with physical art, when I was focused a lot on that, I had a really difficult time trying to make things look realistic. And it was something I was focusing a lot on and getting very frustrated by because it was what I was seeing be accepted and acceptable by the community that I was participating in live shows and stuff like that in at the time.
That was the in-demand art style.
Yeah, and I was just never able to really achieve that. I hadn't really found the kind of digital art I had found was like really old stuff on my iPad tablet. Like this is over 10 years ago now, so very different set of technology and like tools to use. So yeah, my art there looked a lot like it would in its physical form, where it was very kind of like this very rough aesthetic, almost kind of like less interested in form than in like traditional forms, than kind of creating these odd monsters that I would just kind of let flow out, you know, which was a lot of the art that I made. I mean, you look at a lot of my physical art, and it is way more visceral, you know. It's not necessarily realism in any stretch of the imagination, but it was meant to evoke that kind of feeling. And yeah, I was still trying to do realism at that point, but not really being able to participate in making art like that, like everybody else was, it was easier for me to focus on how I wanted to express myself, and kind of make that my own.
You know, honestly, I feel like that's better. I mean, the people that innovate and the people that change art as a medium are not the people that do the same thing as everybody else. They're the people that find their own way.
Totally. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, look at me now. I mean, I've definitely been able to kind of like using digital art as my kind of like the medium I've been training in for a long time now. It's definitely allowed me to produce results that are much more in line with what I was seeking to produce a long time ago. And honestly, what I'm trying to do a lot of the time now is I can focus on bringing that back into what I'm doing in digital. That's much more clean and much more stable in reality, and I can bring those touches in a way that I was never able to before.
Yeah, I think it's also like it helps that digital art is much more forgiving. Like if you're painting a painting, once the paint is on the canvas, it's really hard to change it.
Yeah, especially in oil.
Oh gosh, I worked in oil one time and then I got so upset with how long it took to dry that I never worked in oils again, only acrylics.
Yeah, same. I've done very little work in and it was all kind of just like very experimental, trying to see what I could do and kind of like just trying to test the medium really. I really struggled with it. I guess is the best way that I can put it. Oh man.
Yeah, respect to anyone who can do oil painting because it is a beast that has bothered me for a very long time, and I just finally decided to leave that one alone.
Yeah, dude. I follow a couple people who do almost exclusively oils. I usually just constantly in awe of the stuff they're able to pull off, and like, but yeah, it's yeah, it's also where kind of like my original inspiration kind of comes from in a lot of ways. Like, I didn't really care a lot about art, like physical mediums of art, like theater, music, acting, that kind of stuff was always, I was always participating in stuff like that from a pretty young age, but art in its physical form, I never really cared too much for until I was probably in my 20s and had I needed a creative outlet again, and I had done some in high school notebooks and stuff like that, but nothing that I really took too seriously, and had romantic partners who were artists who like encouraged me to use that as an outlet that I kind of practiced while I was in those relationships, but really when I met Katie, a cat, and our relationship started flourishing, their interest in art definitely helped drive me into that direction as well. And yeah, it was really it's been, I mean, just we've been together 11 years now. It's been a very eye-opening kind of like, yeah, very
so
very important. Yeah, I mean, we've made so much art together at this point. It's definitely a big part of our relationship. And yeah, I'm very, very grateful for all the support and like helpful art critique they've given me over the years. Because, like I said, you know, I mean, if anything, they're my only, like, the only instruction I've ever received. what I've got from my romantic partner.
Oh. Well, it's
Yeah,
it's
they're
very
incredible.
sweet that you have someone that is willing to help you grow as an artist and encourage you that way.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was always a really important part of our relationship, especially when we first got together. I was in the band Boilermaker, and we would often do our band flyers together. And it was a really great period where we were working a lot together, and definitely learn a lot about your relationships and like the limitations and boundaries that each other have in that process of like working together on art. I don't know how many people tend to work with their romantic partners on their creative projects, but definitely is not for everyone. But if you can deal with it, if you can communicate well and work together without chewing each other's heads off, I think you have at least a strong foundation for a good relationship, whatever that form might take. Okay, I've been avoiding her face this whole stream. It is now 5:06, and we've been live for over an hour and a half.
Weston, you gotta do the face now.
I know. So we're gonna do it.
Just start with a nose. That's all she needs is a nose.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not the way my brain works. So, I'm gonna break this down a little bit. Take off all the other layers. And just look at her for a second. It's really even tones. I mean, it's hard to, this is always the hardest part.
Defining the nose.
Not just the nose, the entire face. Especially in images where they're so far back in the original. Coming in, you get a lot of pixelization and things that you don't necessarily want. Things you need to actively not pay attention to, essentially.
It's weird because, like, for me, it's easy to see, and I guess that's an advantage of being an assigned female. We spend a lot of time looking at our own faces and kind of figuring out how makeup works and all of that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Finding a nice way to say, yeah, our society is obsessed with how women, in a really unhealthy way, but in a nice way. So I didn't find it, but so I just said it.
No, it's okay. That's why I said advantage with a question mark.
Yeah.
It's very firmly in that questioning part.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What am I at? 3%? Yeah, let's go up to 5. Okay.
She's got such an interesting nose.
Yeah, it's very, like, elfy.
It's almost like it's got a hint of Southeast Asian in it. Like, with the shaping of it. It certainly doesn't read as, like, a European nose. Not this angle, anyway.
Totally.
Now I'm curious as to what her background is. Oh, gotta get the Army Hammer controversy out of there. Still in my Google search. How bizarre, man.
What a fucked up thing to find out about a real person that exists. Like, I just didn't think that was a thing people talked about or did in real life. I think you just have to be a really, really depraved rich person to even get to that point as a human being. Because I don't understand it in any other context. It's just, it's a thing that we talk about being so horrific that it's like not even like something we talk about seriously. Like we talk about it like a joke because there's no real threat that we have kind of can even like even in history books and like stuff like that. It's not a common regular thing that people do.
No.
Okay. It's so absurd that to show the unconventionality of the man from Mars and Stranger in a Strange Place, he has that be a central idea of Martian culture. Robert Heinlein, in that book of consuming their dead, and it being this very obvious difference between our culture on Earth and the Martian culture, and something that the main character in that book has to contend with, you know? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to not draw her face while we're on stream. That's what's happening.
Well, if you're trying to stall, you have about 19 minutes of stalling remaining.
Yeah, it's too much. I will just draw instead. Yeah, you know, I think I'm gonna have to use... Here's what I'll do. Okay.
All I can find about her heritage is British-born actress.
Yeah, I was gonna say white earlier, but I figured that would be a little reductive.
Yeah, there's so many kinds of white. I think the thing that I'm
Very
just like
generous of
wondering,
you.
yeah, I'm just wondering if like maybe there's some like Russian or like one of the more Eastern European races in her heritage, just because of the way her nose is shaped. It doesn't read as like fully British to me. And again, it just might be this angle because it makes it look wider and flatter. It almost looks like honestly like my nose, which is a Filipino nose.
Okay. Okay. Let's try this out. This might not work, but we're gonna give it a shot. Oh boy.
Oh.
Now we're looking real woodcutty.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. We're just blending. Just having a good old time blending.
The blending is good. It makes it look not like Michael Jackson's nose. I mean his nose later in life, not his original nose. His original nose was fine.
No, I'm not. I think we all knew.
Okay. Just, I wanted to clarify, because I realize, like, there's been a lot of noses for Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. You would know best. I did not follow his career very much, for most, or any of my life, actually. Um, especially being like a child actor, you know, it was one of those things where I heard no end of it from everyone important in my life at a young age, that all of the worst parts of that dude's character, or you know, alleged worst parts of that dude's character. And honestly, I've never really taken the time to disentangle the truth from the fiction there, because it's obviously a lot, and I don't think I am the person who should be doing that. I don't think I'm the right person for that job.
I could certainly tell you about it sometime, but it will take a while, because there's quite a story there.
Yeah, no, I just, you know, yeah, it's a lot. I know it's a lot. That's all I know.
My opinion has always been that, like, he was very misunderstood, and he always seemed like a very gentle person. And it was very difficult for me to believe that any of the allegations against him were true. I think they were just painted in a certain light that were meant to exploit the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, you know, how a lot of these high-profile Hollywood cases go.
Yeah.
They are most definitely more for attention than for the issue at hand. But, yeah, I mean, I can understand how it was viewed a certain way, but, like, if you actually try and, like, view things from Michael Jackson's point of view, then there's a lot of things where, like, it makes sense for the things that did happen, and the things that didn't wouldn't have made sense at all for this poor guy.
Sure. I just realized this looks more like Vlad the Impaler than Sorsha right
now. Adding the shadows in, I'm sure, will help again.
There we go. A little better. I think that's still very mustachy. I gotta change that. We got the face started, though, folks. Mm-hmm. Can't say I didn't try now. Can't say I ducked you.
With art, trying is half the battle.
Thanks, G.I. Joe. I guess we don't have shows. I was going to say we don't have shows that do, like, the whole, like, PSA at the end of the episode, and I think that's what's wrong with our society, but I realized as I was saying it that we do have shows that don't do that, but definitely give us more actual, like, ethical and moral meat to chew on than He-Man ever could have, or the G.I. Joes, in things like Steven Universe and Craig of the Creek, so I don't think we need those kinds of PSAs anymore.
Weston, but how will the children know to check the doorknob if there's a fire?
It's a good question, Sam. I guess they're gonna die in a fire then. You know,
I guess the lesson is don't put children in fires.
Yeah, please, for the love of all that is cares about the sanctity of life, don't put children in a fire. That's not where they go. They don't like it, and you know, you're gonna make sad children, and I don't think that's what you want. And
yep,
it's not what Jesus wants. Is that where you want to be when Jesus comes back? Making children cry? No, you don't.
Yep, don't set children on fire, and check their doorknobs for them.
Yeah, it's that simple.
That's a really bad piece of advice, actually. Don't check children's doorknobs for them. Yeah. Unless you're their parent.
Yeah. It's a good point, Sam.
And I should say something else so that that's not the last thing that I've said on stream. There we go. That ought to do it.
That'll do it, yeah. Okay. That's better. Yeah, that's better. Much better. Okay.
It just needed to be more subtle.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna delete this all and start all over again. But
What? No!
that was
You've made it so
that did
far
great.
already.
No, I know. I just the face is gonna be too hard to fix because in this one color, I either have to sit here and undo until I've done I've undone all of what I just did on the face that I'm not happy with, or I can just boop, start a new one. And it's way faster. Even if it does mean I have to draw the gauntlets and the horse stuff again. It's really not that much work, as opposed to sitting here for who knows how long and maybe not even making it all the way through. Things I just did to that face.
Well, then you're probably a stronger-willed artist than I am, because I will sit and I will fuss.
Yeah, no, I have done that on too many projects at this point that it is I don't allow myself to do it because it's not a good use of my time.
That's fair.
Like I definitely will go hard on a project if like I can see where I can make it work, but these flat color pieces are so hard to fix, especially in this program. Like, check this out. I take the sample color, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can go in with my favorite regular brush, regular degular. Oh, well, I guess you can't really see it with this color orange, but in a lot of colors, start getting fugitive colors that you didn't ask to show up, just start showing up. Oh. Yeah. So, trying to, like, just draw or paint over the top of Sorsha, like, whoop, 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 whoop. Hold on. Okay. Can sometimes cause, like, yeah, you start seeing it, like, right around here. Oopsie.
Whoa.
I thought that was the pencil. Around this area, you start seeing, like, these odd streaks, colors starting to get fugitive and uneven. So you basically, like, I can't, like, necessarily go over the piece in the source color to erase with these pieces. It's incredibly maddening.
That's really interesting that program does that.
Yeah, very frustrating. Especially if, you know what it does it the most with is my typical fix-it tool. It's my hard airbrush. And it does that, it usually does it even more with this. But it's doing fine. Maybe I'll just use this as an eraser now because it's working fine with this piece. Just do all that over again. There you go. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, cool.
Yay,
I know
we saved you some time.
With certain hues, it really doesn't work that well. I know that I look absolutely foolish right now. I'm okay with that because I usually do. But yeah, in a lot of cases, it is exactly as I've described it to you, or I'll try and go over the top of the color with the color I was using.
And it looks completely off.
Yeah, there's no way to even like blend the colors together.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah. Speaking of blending in digital art, have you ever tried to mix blue and green or blue and yellow together to get green in digital art?
I have not. But I try not to like blend colors unless I have to. I try and just find the color that I want to use, and then I'll go in. I use layers so much, and I'll go in and I'll put like a single color on a single layer and then blur out the edges to get it to blend that way.
Oh, I love that. That's a
It's
very
very
interesting
additive.
technique. Yeah, no, yeah, that is really interesting.
Like you should
Um,
give it a try sometime. Do a bit of a dabble. I've been very happy with how it turns out. Because you're able to, like, if you start with your darker colors, you just build it up with the lighter colors as you go, and it looks. It gives it a lot of dimension without having to worry too much about, like, the shading stuff, which is, what I struggle with, so it's great.
there, I did the face.
Perfect! It's like the Mona Lisa.
Just because I think we're 5 minutes out from 2 hours, so I wanted to finish the face. It's Mr. Dink, Mr. Sorsha Dink.
I really want to just, like, in my best Karina voice, Jacob, what did you do?
Hello. Oh, gotta get more space. Hello, Douglas. It's Mr. Dink.
Oh, beautiful.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think after that, I think we should call it because there's just no way to improve the piece.
Yeah.
Beyond that.
Well, after that moment, how can we possibly top that?
Well, thank you so much, Sam, and thank you everyone for listening. I'm Weston Ball. You can find me at Lava Submersible on Instagram or TikTok. You can find our wonderful channel at Nerdcrafty on Instagram and on TikTok. You can also find we've got social medias up the wazoo. You can check us out just about everywhere. We got our YouTube, we got our Twitch you're already on, so I don't need to plug that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of the links are also somewhere on the Twitch.
Bada bing, bada boom. You got all the links.
So, yeah.
We got you. You got us. Check us out. And we'll see you next time. Next week on Tuesday. Thank you so much again for everyone coming. And again, thank you for Sam.
Yeah, well, you're very welcome. And yes, thank you everyone who came to watch. Thank you everyone who's going to come to watch in the future. Yes, I see you already. And we'll do this again sometime, right, Weston?
Absolutely.
All right.
1000%.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.